The first area that we're going to get familiar with is the digital readout section, or DRO, which is up here. In the DRO section, we have the ability to zero out any X, Y, or Z readings. As we move the stage, you'll notice that the numbers change. So if I wanted to zero out the X reading, I can double click on the X and a box will pop up that says, do you want to set it to current 0 or set it to half of that? So we want to set the X to 0. After clicking on 0, the stage location will be zeroed out on your part based on where the crosshair is located. And we can do the same thing here with Y by double clicking, and Z as well. Now we're going to take the time to look at each one of the buttons associated with the digital readout section of the screen. So the first button that we'll notice here is the XY button, and this allows you to have the readout be displayed in XY coordinates. Next, if you want the readout to be displayed in polar coordinates, you would use the polar coordinate button. By clicking on this button now, you'll notice that the readout is changed to a rotary and polar coordinate system. The third area of the digital readout screen, if we want to go back to XY coordinates, would be if we want the dimensions or the readout to be displayed in inches or millimeters. So you can quickly and easily toggle back and forth from inches to millimeters depending on what your desired readout format is. The DMS button allows you to display dimensions in degrees, minutes, and seconds. And you will notice that all buttons have tooltips, so as you put the mouse over the button, you will get a display of degrees, minutes, and seconds, or decimal degrees. The button in the upper right side of the digital readout is the home return button. So if you click on that, this will allow you to set the machine 0 at a location. So there's basically a reference mark on the glass scale that sets the machine 0 at 0, 0. So by following this procedure, you would set the machine 0 to 0. The next button that we're going to look at is the incremental and absolute button. The incremental and absolute button allows you to switch between absolute and relative coordinates. By pressing down on that button, you can change between absolute and relative coordinates. This button allows you to set the relative coordinates to 0. So by clicking on that button, you are offered a suggestion to set the readout to 0, and by doing that, you'll notice now that the X and Y coordinates have been reset to 0. That would be leaving a 0 location based on where your crosshair is positioned. This choice here, where the 3 is allowing you to set the geometric features in multi-point mode. So if you're measuring a diameter, there's a minimum of 3, but by increasing this number, you can increase to the number of desired points you would like to take in a diameter. There's other ways to take a diameter by not necessarily telling it first. which allow you to just click on the points and then click finish, and it will give you a best fit diameter. And then the last window on the digital readout screen is the point number requirements for measuring an object or a feature. The number before the semicolon is the point number, and the number after is the object number taken. For instance, we're going to review some of the feature-to-feature measurements later, but if we were to select down here a center-to-center distance of 2 circles, you'll notice that this display changes to have a 6 and a 2. So the 2 means that you have 2 objects or 2 circles to be measured, and it requires 6 points to complete this measurement. If we come back down here and we did a point to a line, you'll see that that number changes from 2 objects, a point and a line are required, and 3 points are used to accomplish that geometric measurement. This should give you a good start on using the digital readout screen.